Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of the Podiatry Legends Podcast. I'm very excited about today's episode. I have Usama Anwar and his wife Zahra. They own Podiatry For All in Mauritius. I have not had anyone from Mauritius on this podcast before, so welcome to you both to the Podiatry Legends Podcast.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for inviting us.
Even though I know where Mauritius is, but before diving on here, I went and had a look at it, and it's a beautiful looking place.
It is indeed, yeah. Before we moved to Mauritius, because Osama is not Mauritian, so I told him all the bad side of Mauritius. I'm like, this is how it is. Nothing's good here. Don't move to Mauritius. Then when he came here, he was like, why did you say that to me? It's wonderful in here. It's actually really nice in here. It does have its downside, but it's actually really nice.
She did not give me one single good side about Mauritius. She only told me the bad stuff.
Yeah, I read a little bit about it, and it was saying if you're going there for a holiday, there's no need to go to the capital city. There's nothing there. There's nothing good can happen there. So they said as soon as you arrive, they said if you're going on a cruise, you only go there to get on the cruise ship. Other than that, head north. And they said everything else is absolutely beautiful. So we will point out, Zahra, you're actually from Mauritius.
Yes, I am. I'm from Mauritius, and Osama's Pakistani.
Okay, and you studied in the UK.
Yes, so I grew up in Mauritius and then I moved to the UK to study. Then I started working there at Rushden Podiatry for a couple of years. Then we decided to move back here because we didn't have enough working force in the podiatry sector in Mauritius.
So what made you think you're in Mauritius, you're living there, and all of a sudden you go, I'm going to go to the UK to study podiatry? How did you come across podiatry in the first place to make you want to take that on as a career?
To be honest, I didn't even know what was podiatry. So I was 17 and I had a lot of problem regarding my lower limb. So I had rheumatoid factor as a kid while growing up, and it wasn't diagnosed till I was 16. So since I was the age of 5 to 7, I always suffered from knee pain. I dislocated my knee, so it was a really painful childhood. Then finally we found out what was happening, and that's when I met my physiotherapist, and that was the time when I was choosing like what to do going ahead. And I was like, oh, physiotherapy looks like a good thing to do. Why not? Then she was like, Zahra, I don't advise you to do that because we have too many physiotherapists in Mauritius. She was like, go for podiatry. If I could go for something, I would go for podiatry now. And I was like, why is that? She was
So
like, it's about...
is there a university in Mauritius that does physiotherapy, or you've still got to leave to? Oh, so there is. So you can do physiotherapy in Mauritius.
Yes, exactly. That's why we have a lot of them. But for podiatry, we didn't have the course in Mauritius. So we already applied for the course, and my dad already paid for it. And so I had to go shadow podiatrist, and all I saw her doing was cutting toenails. And I was like, I paid that much money to just cut toenails, and I couldn't even tell my dad, you know what? I don't think I'm going to do it anymore. So I just went for it, and well, it's one of the best things that happened to me, because it's much more than that. And like when you're learning about podiatry, when you're helping patients, because in the first 2 weeks we already start with seeing patients in the clinical setting, and it's so rewarding even to see those old people and be able to help them with ulcers and everything. So I just felt it was such a rewarding job to do, so I absolutely love it then.
Okay, and Usama, did you two met in the UK?
Yes, we did.
I take it you weren't traveling through Mauritius and went, "Ooh, hello, how are you doing?"
No. So I'll tell you something. I didn't know what podiatry was or what Mauritius was. So I come from Pakistan. I had no idea where Mauritius was. I might have heard about it a couple of times, but that's all. In UK, we both studied at the University of Northampton. So one day, just when I started uni, by chance I saw Zahra. I didn't have any friends or anyone at that point. I was approaching her to speak to her, and there was someone with her, so I just backed out and I didn't really speak to her. Then years went on. I used to see her around uni.
Yeah. Did you say years? You saw her really early on at university, and you waited years.
But I saw her in 2018, September 2018 to be precise.
Yeah.
And since then, I just saw her around till 2020. I just used to see her in the campus. That's it, nothing else.
Zahra, did you notice him though? You didn't notice
Um,
him stalking you in the bushes or anything like that?
I would run away from him. So he would message me every week, would you go to the movie with me? Would you go there with me? And I'll be like, I'm quite busy.
I got a concert ticket for her and I asked her, do you want to go to the concert with me?
Yeah.
She said no. So then I had to take someone else with me. But the answer was always
Look, he
no.
had a replacement, you see.
Friend, I took my friend. Yeah. So then since till 2020, I used to see her around and that was it. Then during COVID, she went back to Mauritius
Yeah.
and I was still in UK. I went to Pakistan. I did come back after a week, and then I was in UK, and then I saw her Insta story something. I replied, and then we started talking from that point onwards.
Yeah. Finally.
And then in August, September, she came back to UK, and then when she came back, then we started to talk and we started to meet.
The first time I met him, I told myself, before I went to see him, I was like, I'm just going to see this guy once and never see him again because he's been pestering me. But well,
Oh, it was worth all the hard
Yeah.
work then, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes and no. Like
The correct answer to that is yes.
exactly.
if I'm gonna say yes, then she's gonna tell me later on it was a no. So that's why I just said yes and no. Yeah. I used to see her around in gym and let's say in town center. She even told me one time when her parents were over in the UK, she saw
Yeah.
me one time in town center going past her and she hid behind her father so that I don't see her and I don't speak to her. That was all before I spoke to her.
So what were you studying in the UK?
I was studying accounting and finance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you finished that, and then eventually at some stage you did get together in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally, yeah, after a long drawn out process, then I take it then you got married over in the UK.
Yes. Before we got graduated, we got married.
Oh, before you even graduated. So okay, you
Yeah.
didn't wait. Straight into it.
Yeah, we got married like within a
Within
year
a year.
that we met each other.
Okay, and did your friends say to you, Zara, isn't this the guy that you were avoiding for 3 years while we're at university, and now you're marrying him really quick?
Yes. We both got to hear that we're getting married really quick, but well, it was a good decision. And just 9 months later, we got our little daughter.
That was also
So-
before we got graduated.
Yeah. it
Yeah.
was
Oh
before
my.
that.
Okay.
So our little one was at our graduation ceremony.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was born in September and we got graduated in November. Obviously, we had finished our degrees by June or July, but
Yeah.
just that the graduation ceremony takes place in November. So, yeah.
Okay. So then, Zara, so you went off and worked for a couple of years in the UK?
Yeah, so just before I graduated, I already started working as a foot health practitioner. And then after my degree finished, I moved on to podiatry. I was working in private practice there, and it was quite nice, but it was quite a long way from home because I used to live in a family that was in Rushden. So, and at that time we're not driving, so it was like 1.5 hour by bus.
Yeah.
But it was quite nice because I would work there like 4 days a week and get like 3 days off. So I worked there, but I also have experience in the NHS. During our study, we were sent for placement to different NHS, so different places, different towns, just to see the setting and everything and to work with different teams. But the thing is, overall in UK, we do have it's not that large of a group of podiatrists, so it's everybody knows each other as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite nice to work in UK. For me, to be honest, working in UK was the best thing. Podiatry was the best thing to do because there was that team support. Like whenever you needed a question, there was always a more experienced person next to you. You could always ask like loads of questions and everything, which we really need here. Till now, sometimes I have some cases which I'm like, I'm not very sure how to go with it. And I'm always like texting my lecturers and be like, what can I do in these cases? And well, they have way more experience. So they're always coming back and telling us like what to do or how can we take that case forward and everything. So this is what we're missing in Mauritius because there it's a lot of teamwork. I bet maybe in Australia it's the same as well.
Yeah. So were there certain aspects of podiatry that you enjoyed more than others? Was it routine foot care, high risk feet? Was it MSK? Were there certain parts of it that when you started doing your study that you went, oh, I'm so glad I did podiatry because of this?
Well, I do really like to treat mostly diabetic ulcers.
Ooh,
Diabetic
okay.
patients, yeah,
Yeah.
juicy ones,
Yeah.
diabetic ulcers, or if like we have infected involuted toenails, I'm like more into those stuff. I do enjoy MSKs, but to be honest, like in Mauritius, we don't get that many MSKs patient. So mostly when patient has pain and stuff, they go to the ortho. So here we do get more cases of like infection, but I do enjoy treating infection a
Yeah.
little bit more. Because then when you see that it's healing and the patient's getting better and back on their feet, it's like really rewarding.
Okay, so Usama, you graduated, you did accountancy. Did you work as an accountant for a couple of years?
Yeah, so I was working as a complaints handler for travel insurance in Northampton, where we used to live. And I continued to work for them till I even moved to Mauritius. So when I moved here, I was working from home. I already started working from home when we had the baby. So they allowed
Yeah.
me to work from home. So I just continued it here till Mauritius until April, May last year. And then I stopped working, and then we were fully focused on Podiatry for All because it's not easy to set up a practice here in Mauritius. So it takes time and effort. So Zara was still consulting at Wellcome Hospital while we both were fully focused here. And then we got it up and running in Jan this year,
February.
February this year.
Yeah.
And since then, in February, then I started another role at a furniture reseller in Mauritius. I am working as a finance executive for them now, plus looking after PFA with Zara.
Yeah, because I was going to say that. So your finance background would be very helpful in the business itself.
Yeah.
But and when I asked for a couple of talking points before you came on, and one of the things you mentioned was that moving from the UK, there were only about 6 podiatrists in Mauritius for over 1 million people.
Yeah, so
That's a lot
we
of
are
people.
1.3 million, yeah, 1.3 million. And right now we are 8 podiatrists, if I'm not wrong. And still people don't know what is podiatry in Mauritius. That's such a shame because we don't have that much referral. Doctors tend to keep the patients for themselves.
Which is
So
great. If you can educate the doctors on what it is that you actually do, you will be extremely busy when you can educate them. So I would be focusing on the education.
yeah. Definitely, but we do have a lot of practitioners who know what we do as well. But it is different in Mauritius. It is more of a business point of view than a health point of view as well. So the more you keep the patient, because here we don't really have, we have free health services, but we don't have podiatry in that. So we are only paid practitioners.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a general surgeon who can't actually see a case and has to refer onward to a vascular podiatrist, they will try to keep that case as much as possible. And when nothing actually can be done, that's when it gets referred. But however, when we study and everything, we know that if a patient has a vascular problem, send to this person. If a patient has an ortho problem that we can't do anything about, we have to refer onward. But it's just a referral problem, which is a bit of a blockage here in Mauritius, unfortunately. We are trying to educate doctors, educate the population about podiatry. I bet educating the population is easier than educating doctors because they have a very tight schedule and you can't really fit into that. So
Yeah.
we do try to have like talks to like a group of people. We do tend to do like free services, free checkups for them to know what is foot health and talk a lot during that process so that they know what they have to do, what they don't have to do, when do they visit us and when they don't, and when to go to A&E straight away, stuff like that. So we are working quite hard on that, but it is very time consuming and like to get people who really want to learn, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's true. People
People,
do want to learn.
yes,
That's true.
they really want to know what is. I want to, like today I had a patient who just came to me and be like, I didn't know where to go for 10 years. And I saw you on Facebook and I was like, oh, I knew this is the place for me to come. The patient had a fungal ear infection for nearly 10 years and didn't know where to go. So these things, we are trying to work a lot on it, and it is actually working. I'm not going to say no, but it takes a lot of effort though.
Yeah. And you mentioned too that a lot of the podiatrists that were there are all are from France.
Yeah, they are. So there is me and one podiatrist who are from UK,
Yeah.
and the rest are from Belgium. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a little bit different.
And we are like 2 or 3 Mauritians only. So usually patients do feel a bit more comfortable to speak to you when you're Mauritian to Mauritian because of the language barrier. So they are like, yeah, with you, I'm a bit more comfortable to explain what is the problem, how did it come and everything. But like they have to, a lot of people can't actually speak French, even though one of the language in the country is French, but they can't. So they find it easier to like communicate with Mauritian itself.
Okay, so in Mauritius, you've got French-speaking people, then they speak Mauritian.
Which is Creole.
Okay, so the choice is they can speak French, Creole, or English. Okay.
Yeah. So we are mostly multilingual, and a lot of people can also speak Hindi and Urdu.
Okay.
So it's quite a diverse country, I would say. So let's say I've been here for almost 2 years now, 1.5 years.
Yeah.
I still can't speak Creole or French, either of them, but I haven't had a single encounter at which I haven't been able to communicate with someone. So it's fine with me.
Yeah.
But let's say if I go to the market, then I don't think I can still converse.
Yes, people will understand you.
They understand.
They will understand you because we are quite multilingual. Like Usama speaks Urdu as well. So sometimes if he can't communicate in English, he can always swap to Urdu. And as we can understand it, so we are quite multilingual.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Creole itself as a language, what is that similar to?
French.
It is similar to French, very similar to French, and kind of English, but mostly similar to French. Yeah.
Okay.
So before we have our ancestors who used to talk in Bhojpuri. Bhojpuri is it is not the Bhojpuri that is in India. That was a specific Bhojpuri in Mauritius. It is like a mixture of French and Hindi together.
Yeah.
So then when like the new generation came and everything, so then it came from Bhojpuri to Creole. So Creole is like a mixture of Bhojpuri, French, English, everything. Yeah.
See, there's going to be people listening to this just going, Tyson, why do you not already know this? But I didn't. And that's why the Podiatry Legends podcast is also a very educational podcast.
It is.
Well, that's what I enjoy. That's why when Usama joined the Podiatry Business Owners Club and I knew where you were in Mauritius, I just went, oh, I've got to get you on the podcast because I've had nobody from there before. And I'm thinking, I know it's going to be really interesting. Now, I'm going to go back a step then because Usama, you said you're from Pakistan.
Yeah.
So, Zahra, is that your background as well? Is that like through your family as well? No?
Our ancestors, when they migrated like years ago, I don't know what year.
She has no idea where she comes from.
Okay.
No, so basically our ancestors, when they came back a long time ago, they were from India, they were from Africa.
Okay.
So then that was like the old thing, but now we wouldn't know where we're actually from, no.
Okay, so the commonality between, do you share the same religion?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking for
you were finding
commonality.
A link.
Yes, I was finding the link because there had to be a link there through the whole university type thing and then getting married and then moving there, I think, and your families didn't disown you both. There had to be a link. Oh, okay. Well, I've just hit a hot spot then. The families disowned both you, fair enough.
So her side is fine. The place where I come from, we don't actually accept strangers. So in Pakistan, you have to be like within your family, or even if you go out not too far from the family. I have married someone from a country which they don't even know that a country like this exists. So it's a long shot.
Yeah, I remember when we had a holiday in Fiji once. We went to this small village and we were talking to them about marrying, who they marry. And yeah, a lot of that as well was, we prefer it if you marry somebody from one of the villages that we know. They said that's always helpful. If you go too far outside that or to a different nationality, they said, no, then sometimes that is just really frowned upon. And then I actually jokingly said to them, and what happened if they bring a white boy like me back? they just said, you'd be fine.
That's what I thought as well. You'd be fine, but trust me.
No, it didn't work that way. I'm glad I asked the question then. That's interesting because it's one of those things when people from different countries, similar religions, but you've got different backgrounds that there's acceptance and there's non-acceptance. So it's good though. It's good that you stuck it out.
No, but for me, in my case, her mother loves me more than her, and that's a fact. So I'm okay with it. So yeah.
She does. Can't say otherwise.
Ah, that's funny. So with Podiatry for All, you said that, well, one of the things you wrote down told me that you were trying to create a service for people in Mauritius who couldn't usually afford that type of treatment. How has that worked with also running a business? Because you've still got to make a profit, you've still got to make a living. How do you work those two things together?
So there is a thing as charging too much and something as charging just enough of what you are giving as well.
Yeah.
What we are charging, we think is just enough. It's good because if you take an example, I think that how much is a pension in Mauritius? It's like 11,000.
11.
Okay, so the pension is like 11,000 roughly. So most of our patients, though, they are elderly. Okay, so now they have to get their medication and everything in that money. And let's say they have to come and see us. We charge 1,400 for the first appointment and 1,300 for the following appointments.
Yeah.
So if they have to pay like an amount that they can't actually afford, they won't come to see us and they will stay in that pain or in that misery for quite a long time. So what we do is we try to give a service that is okay for us to run our business as well and okay for them to pay as well. It's affordable. But also, yes, we are just not saying we're not profitable, we are, but we are some months we are just breaking even as well. Because sometimes there are patients who come in and we're like, and the patients, I really can't pay. That's all I can give you. And we're like, okay, that's fine. And you can see that patient really can't.
Yeah. Well, it's genuine. It's a genuine
Exactly. When we set
financial
the
problem.
Podiatry for All, I remember discussing this with Zara from the business point of view, and we both agreed on it that our intention was never to make money off of it. The
Like,
main
yes, make
intention
money,
was
but not
just
just
to
that.
break even. As
Yeah.
long even till today, as long as we're break even, we're fine. We don't cry about it that okay, fine, we should have done more. But as long as we are doing break even, we're happy with it. Plus, there's another thing that we have that let's say we want to do an event, we do have some sort of help in terms of sponsorship from BHV. It's a derma cosmetic brand in Mauritius.
Okay.
They bring over the products from Poland, so they have been really helpful. A couple of months ago, we did an event on Rodrigue Island. It is quite a remote island where Zara went for all went, but she's where we did over 2 days. Zara treated about let's say 80 to quite a few. I'm not really sure how many. She would be able to tell you how many patients she did, but they helped us go over there. And then we saw quite a few patients over there. How many patients did you do?
We did around 90 patients in over 2 days.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And that island, they don't have any medical services as such. So if they need any treatment, they have to travel to Mauritius, and that would either be by flight or by ship. I don't know how.
Well, they didn't actually come by ship. When I went to Rodrigue, I got a shock because Rodrigue is an island owned by Mauritius.
Yeah.
And I've never been there before. And when I went, I just tell you a little case story. There was a guy who came to see me there. He was 77, okay, got a huge ulcer, ischemic ulcer on the heel, and he's diabetic. And I had to ask him, so how's your HbA1c? He was like, I'm not very sure. It's very well controlled. And his daughter was like, it's 22. And I told the father, it's not well controlled. He told me the doctors here say it was fine. The thing is, the medical system in Rodrigue is not good at all.
Yeah.
So mainly they have GPs, and if you're very ill, the government, because they are not very well off people, so the government has to arrange for them to come to Mauritius to get the health care. So that's why we went there to do like free consultation. And if someone needed treatment, then we were charging for the treatment though. But we consulted quite a lot of people there. I'm not sure what is the population like, how many people are there, but we treated over 90 people in 2 days, consulted, sorry. And it was quite rewarding, it was quite nice because they were all very happy, most of them.
Is the plan to do that on a regular basis, or was that a one-off trip that was organised?
So usually we will try to do it like quite often.
Yeah.
We'll try to do it maybe thrice a year or something like that. We're still working on that, but it was quite good to go there and help people around. And there were some people who came to Mauritius for the treatment because I told them they had to see an ortho, and they came to see me in Mauritius.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, that was very nice. And they were like, we went to see the ortho, and this is what happened. So yeah, it was quite good.
So I have a podiatry question though. Since there is no podiatry school there, is there some form of registration board to make sure people aren't just calling themselves a podiatrist and they just made it up?
Okay, so we have people who just call them podiatrists as well.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And people go to them and be like, okay, I went to that podiatrist, and I'm like, that person's not podiatrist. But we are all AHPC registered. So we have an allied health professional council here.
Okay.
So in which physios have to be registered, osteopath, podiatrist, I think dentist, if I'm not wrong, but a lot of bodies, they have to get registered in allied health professional. And if you're not registered, you're not allowed to practice as podiatrist.
Okay, even though there's people there who are calling themselves a podiatrist who aren't.
Yes, we still have that, and we still report them, but it is different here because even though you report them, they'll be like, okay, I won't say it anymore, but they're still going to do it. So you can't actually stop everybody, maybe, because I think that the law is not that strong in terms of that as well. So we don't have the proper law for it yet because AHPC has been formed maybe 2 years ago or 1 year ago. So it's quite a different body. So before you didn't need to be registered at all to practice. You could just practice like that. Now you need to be registered, which is a very good thing though, because whenever you're going somewhere, you can just check on that person and you will see that person's registered before you go.
That's good. Like you can just check straight away if that person is registered or not. You just go on that AHPC website, you can see the person's name along with the registration number. So then that's fine.
But you don't need to be Mauritian to work in Mauritius?
No, you don't need to be Mauritian. You can come from anywhere to work here, as long as you have a good certificate. So the certificate has to be recognized.
Yeah.
And then you need to get, normally before you come, you need to already send your documents and everything to AHPC to make sure that you will be allowed to work here.
Yeah, I was just going to say that when you get busy and you do have some profits there to bring another podiatrist, it would be really easy to bring them over from Australia because they're straight across from Perth. It's not very far.
So
we are in the process of bringing another podiatrist.
Okay.
So I'll let Zahra explain how she works in terms of PFA and how she works with in hospital. Then I'll tell you how we are going to bring a podiatrist.
So usually I am at the Welkin Hospital. I'm there like full time, and I am in our podiatry clinic a little bit less. So I'm here for a couple of hours in the day, and we have a lot of patient requests for appointments and everything. So we have quite a backlog as well, and we're trying to work on it. And like alone to work in 2 different places and work on the backlog, it does get quite complicated. So we have been trying to recruit a podiatrist to come to Mauritius to work here so that it can help us with the workload. And even though we have 2 podiatrists, we have quite a big population to cater for.
Huge population.
Exactly. So it should be okay. Yeah, you can carry on.
Yeah, and in terms of bringing a podiatrist over, I've started, let's say from last 1 month, I spoke to a few people. We're trying to get a podiatrist from UK itself.
Yeah.
One of the reasons behind that was like, not all podiatrists in Mauritius, they do nail surgeries. So as much as I'm aware, I'm not a podiatrist, but obviously now I've started understanding a bit about podiatry.
Yeah.
So he can diagnose you if you want.
No. And then we decided that we need a podiatrist who can do nail surgeries as well. Like at the moment, although there are 8 podiatrists in Mauritius, only 2 conduct nail surgeries. So that was one area that I was concerned for. I was like, if I get a podiatrist over, I will try to get the podiatrist from UK so that they can do nail surgeries as well, especially during winter months. Like winters have just passed off, and Zahra has done a lot of nail surgeries during that time period, because that's when people start wearing closed shoes and then their toes start to pain. the whole cycle. So in that way, I was like, we'll get someone from UK. I'm in the process. I've spoken to a few podiatrists. There are some concerns. So just working on that, and hopefully we'll have someone on board soon.
Okay. And what about insurance in Mauritius? So do you have to have insurance that if you did nail surgery or worked on a patient with an ulcer and something went terribly wrong, are you covered?
Yes, so normally you can have insurance or you cannot have insurance as well. That's
Okay.
totally up to you. We do have insurance, though we have insurance in place for ourselves, but it's totally up to you if you want to have insurance in place to cover you, because allied health doesn't have that much importance in the island. So maybe some podiatrists didn't have insurance. I'm not very sure, can't talk about them, but we do have it because we have the conceptions in UK. We always have insurance to work with, and it does make you feel more comfortable because we
Oh,
have some
yeah.
patients.
Well, especially if you're working on high risk patients,
Yeah.
you're treating ulcers, you're doing nail surgery. Yeah, I'd be covering my butt just in case,
Yeah.
which is why I was asking before about profits and the money that you're making, because even though it's Podiatry for All and you're trying to keep your prices down, you've still got to cover all your overheads and actually have a lifestyle yourself too. You can't, at the end of your career, one day be sitting there going, now I'm broke because I did
Well,
everything for
I did
everybody
all that,
else.
but I have nothing now. Yeah. Well, yes, but we're still quite young and we just started our career as well. So we should get somewhere, of course, we will get
Yeah.
somewhere. But yes, we are covering our back though, so that even the savings that we didn't have to use that.
I am more concerned about the insurance than herself.
Yeah.
So I am the one running around trying to make sure all the documents are in
Yeah.
order. But once I have a signature, then it's all fine. So we have the insurance just in place.
Yes.
It's an annual insurance, like they're quite nice. They inform you beforehand, just
Yeah.
before it's about to expire, so that you can renew in time and you don't have any lapses.
It's
So
very costly though.
it's quite costly,
Yeah.
but it's good to have it.
Oh, it's all insurance. Like I always say, insurance is one of these things where you're betting them something will go wrong, and they're betting you that something won't. And that's pretty much
Yeah.
that's pretty much all it is. And depending on the risk will equate to how much it ends up costing you. So long term, do you see yourself staying in Mauritius your whole life, or is this something you're going to do for a certain period of time and eventually move back to the UK, or this is going to be your home?
Well, for the moment, we do see ourselves in Mauritius for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I do. I don't know about him. I do see myself in Mauritius for quite a long time because it's good to settle in here. It's quite nice, even for the little one, for her schooling and everything here. I don't know when she will be in uni, so where will we be at? So maybe we will want to
She
go
has already
back
made
and
up her
forth.
mind. If our daughter goes to uni outside of Mauritius, she's following our daughter wherever she's going. So she has it in the back of her head. So
Yeah.
if, let's say, she decides not to study in Mauritius, to go somewhere else, she's going to follow her.
Yeah, so maybe we'll go back and forth, but this might be our main home. Yeah.
No, it's a good point though, because it's one of those things that you got to do just what's right at the time. So at the moment, where you are now seems to be the right thing. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where you are as it goes on. Now, what I was going to find out about is if anybody wanted to reach out to you, is there an email address? If somebody was listening to this podcast, so they go, oh, I want to have a talk to Zahra about podiatry. Is there an email address that you could give to them?
That would be Podiatry For All
Yep.
.mauritius@gmail.com. It's that simple. Or
Okay.
you can look us up on, even you can search for Zahra's name on Google, and then you should be able
You have to use the surname though.
Then you would have to use the surname, which is CHOUTHY, and then you should be able to find her. So
Okay, and you're also on Facebook. It's Podiatry For All. I went and checked that out. Yeah, you need to probably post a little bit more on Facebook, just pointing that out. I don't know whose job that is, but I went on there to have a look and I went, you could be a little bit more active, especially if you don't have a website, then...
We don't have a website for now, yeah.
We don't have a website. I did make a small website, but here I've learned something in Mauritius that people, they don't, they try to speak to you over the phone, because they want that some sort of a confirmation. So our secretary is quite good at that. So we have all the numbers. So whenever they want to speak, we do get a lot of messages on a regular basis, which are replied every day by the secretary. Or let's say if I've got some time, even I have a look at it. But from the point of view of speaking to patients, they speak directly to the secretary, and then it comes down to Zara. So that is a bit easier. In regards to posting a bit more on social media, it just over the last couple of months, she has been really busy because she's the one who is supposed to give us the content, and we have marketing, you put it on there, but it just she's been a bit busy. So
no excuse,
we
Zahra.
have to work around her schedule.
I'm not going to take that as an excuse.
No, we will try to post more.
Well, the only reason I say that is because when I was on there having a look, and then I saw you didn't have a website, and I'm thinking you're trying to provide a service that's for everybody. I'm thinking the more you can put on there, just the more often you're going to be found, and the more you're going to be able to help people. So if the goal is to help as many people as possible, you need to be putting some content on there and letting them know too that the services that you actually offer.
Yes, definitely. It does make sense. I'm trying to make more content.
Yeah, I'll send you a message every now and then. I'll just go, oi, you haven't posted anything for another 2 weeks.
Please do that. No, I will try to. It's just that we need patients to be consensual as well for content. So not all patients are very happy to do that.
Yeah.
And but we'll try. Yes, definitely, I will try.
That's right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pick on you. I just.
Trust me, I do this every 2 days. So it's like a regular alarm clock every 2 days. In the morning, I remind her, and then she gets pissed off of me because I don't understand like how busy she is. And then again, after 2 days, I start it again. So it's a every 2 day reminder.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm on your side. So before we wrap up, is there anything else about? Well, actually, here's the last question. It's got nothing really to do with podiatry. Why is Mauritius a great place to live, and why should people go there for a holiday?
I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, because you're born and bred there, so you're just like, oh, I don't know.
Exactly. I'll give you a really unbiased answer. Like, I've lived in 3 countries now for a significant amount of time in 3 different continents. Before coming to Mauritius, I'll tell you a small story like when did we decide to come to Mauritius? It was not a planned decision. After we had the baby, my in-laws came to help us in the UK. They stayed with us for a couple of months. They were taking their flight. We were at the airport. They just went into security. And I told Zara, it was never her decision to come back to Mauritius. It was mine. So I told her, let's go Mauritius. She said, she thought I was joking, but I wasn't joking. I was serious. I told her, let's go Mauritius. She said, but we don't have anything planned out. That was in December moment that left, right?
Yeah.
In December they left. In Feb we were in Mauritius. We packed up everything, wrapped up the house. We were in Mauritius.
Had you been there for a holiday yourself first, though?
Never before. That's why I told you that story.
Yeah.
Because before I came, she told me all the negatives about it. When I came here, I found all the positives about it. After living in 3 different countries, if I have to pick a country to live in, I will live in Mauritius any day. Main reason being, it's really multicultural, which I thought it wouldn't be as much as the UK because we have everyone in the UK. But if I compare Mauritius, it's even the languages, the food, you get everything here. You have a quite a big expat community here, people from all around the world. Especially now we have a growing population of South Africans moving to Mauritius because it's convenient for them to travel from South Africa to Mauritius and then back. It's short distance. Plus, the economy is booming at the moment, and I find it like that. She knows about politics, I don't know about politics, so that's why I speak from a different point of view. But I find it really nice. People, they are really helpful, and I find it safe. I find it quite safe. You would be scared to walk around in London at night. You would always be looking out for your phones or for knives. But in Mauritius, I have never been scared in the last 1.5 years to walk anywhere, even though I don't speak the language.
Okay.
So from a neutral point of view, I find it really safe.
That's a great endorsement.
She disagrees with me, but I find it quite safe.
And what's the flights? What's the flight time from the UK? Because I know from Perth to Mauritius, it's somewhere between 8 and 11 hours. Must be slow planes or fast planes. What's it from the UK?
It's 12 hours. 12 hours direct. Yeah.
Okay, it's still not too bad.
Yeah, it's 12 hours direct, so you can do connecting flights as well. But well, I prefer direct flights, to be honest.
It's turned into almost like a tourist show, hasn't it? I should put you in contact with a friend of mine that has a podcast called We Travel There. And
okay. I think you should move to Mauritius and find out a bit how it is here.
You should come one day. We'd like to show you around. Definitely.
yes, I will do that. I'm going to put it on my list of places I'm going to visit one day because it's, when I looked on the map where it was in comparison to, like, I'm in Cairns, so I'm on the other side of Australia. So it's 5 hours from Cairns to Perth. And then from Perth to there, depending on what plane I get on, a slow plane or a fast plane, between 8 and 11 hours, which is not that bad.
No, it's better actually. It's better than from UK. But take the fast one.
Yeah, I know I love travel. I just absolutely love traveling. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
We did 7 and 7. We did from 7 and 7, right?
Six. So we did 6 hours the UK to Dubai. 6 hours we stayed in Dubai, and from Dubai to Mauritius is another 6. Yeah.
Quite a long journey.
That's long. With a kid,
with a 5-month-old, it was a long journey. She's a car baby. So.
What's that noise in the background?
That's the call for prayer. So
today's Friday.
Yeah. So no, every day. So for Muslim, we have 5 prayers a day. So
Yeah.
you have the call of prayer, which is quite loud. So every religion is quite open here. So even sometimes when Hindus have the festivals, you will hear it from the temple. They do it quite loudly. And there's a festival. Usama didn't even know about that. It's called Kavadi. So when they make like, how would I say?
Towers.
Yeah, like a tower if you want, and they bring it to the river. So
holy river.
Yeah, there's a holy river. So they have to walk all the way from wherever they live. They can walk for a day or 2 days as well to get to that river, and then they have to do the prayer and everything there. So it's quite open in that way. So everyone can do what they want to do in a way.
Okay, so what's the? I have so many more questions. What are the different main religions in Mauritius then?
You have Hindus, Muslims, Christianity. That's the main.
Yeah.
Then you have Chinese, Marathis. Well, you have everything here, actually everything.
And everyone gets on pretty well though. There's no bickering between the religions at all.
No, we all get along quite well. Yes,
That's fantastic.
There's nothing message here. It's quite nice.
So I'm not interfering with any prayer moments with you guys at the moment, I hope.
No.
So I want to thank you both for coming on the Podiatry Legends podcast. This has been fun. I've really enjoyed this. So I'm so glad that you said yes to come on. We've learned a little bit about your practice, about yourselves. We've learned a lot about Mauritius, I think.
Yeah.
And I reckon there'll be people.
It was mainly about Mauritius, I would say.
Yeah, but I reckon anybody who's listened to this, go and check it out on a map and put in images and have a look around. It is a absolutely beautiful place. So if anyone's thought about going there for a holiday, I reckon they should do it. So thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.